Donk Nation, Jax and Janet's greetings and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you some Steelers talk in the playoffs, not playoff talk. We get to focus on the Steelers. Of course, I'm going to ask Laskers and Gingy their take on all the playoff games, so I hope you boys made sure to do your research and have it ready. But before I get to Laskers, before I get to Gingy on the breakdown of what went right, I have to say, the Steelers and the Bills have only played each other 3 times in the playoffs, and all 3 times the winner went to the Super Bowl. Gingy Laskers, how you doing?
Gingy in the house. Holy smokes. Steelers. Still football time, baby. Let's go. Big win last week. Buffalo Bills, tough opponent. I don't know. Laskers, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know how we made the playoffs, but we made the playoffs. Hey, thank you, Tennessee, for the extra help on that one. But hey, we're here. Let's go.
We are here. It did take a lot of help. I mean, it took the Steelers playing a bunch of backups in the rain in Baltimore, but I don't care. You take them as you get them. You be happy. You move on to the playoffs. That's what you got to do. But that's not all we needed. We also needed someone to come up short. And I wasn't overly enthusiastic during the Steelers game because I knew we needed more to happen. But man, was I waving my towel hard during that Jaguars game because one team looked desperate, like they needed a win, and one team looked like they were ready to go on vacation. Luckily for us, the team that needed the win was the one that was ready for vacation. And you know what? I think everyone from Steeler Nation should go ahead, autograph a silly little yellow towel, and make sure to send it to Trevor Lawrence, because without him and the Jaguars' utter collapse, going 3-6 after disrespecting the terrible towel, the Steelers wouldn't be here, Gingy.
Absolutely. Myron Cope's curse rains down on you. Jacksonville Jaguars. Honestly, though, I mean, they deserved it. Look at them. Classless behavior deserves that type of consequence in return. But listen, the Steelers coming through, big win in the rain. I do believe I called an X Factor last week that popped one off, Donkey. Pretty happy about that.
You were on the Deontay Johnson boat, right? Yeah, that happened. It was good to see. Also, I'm going to say something, Gingy. No, we're going to go to Laskers first on this one. These last 2 games, I have seen Najee Harris run like he's a physical beast. You know, something I have not seen in his NFL tape. You go back to college, you see it every now and then, but I have never seen it in his NFL tape. And seeing how we're going to be playing in 1.5 feet of snow, that might be right time, right situation.
Oh, I agree. He needs to act like the physical beast that we all know he can be, but he hasn't shown it.
240 damn pounds.
He hasn't shown it, but we know he can be it.
That's true. Gingy, Montravis Adams, I absolutely hate the fact that he's on the football field ever because Keanu Benton's a better player than him. But not only is he on the football field, the dude took out TJ Watt. Are you kidding me right now? NFL leading sacker out for the game because Montravis Adams' fat butt can't stay away from hitting his own teammate. My, oh my.
Friendly fire, Donkey. Not intentional there, obviously, but I don't know. You blame that on personnel? You think that goes differently with Benton? Maybe not.
Because Benton's 3 steps farther on the play.
Yeah, you might be right, Donkey. You might be right. Hindsight being 2020, going to have to do it without TJ Watt. Going to like to see some time from Herbig in there. Big opportunity to step up there.
Baby Herbig is a good speed rusher, but I'm going to tell you, and I made it a point to absolutely say one of my favorite offseason pickups was Marcus Golden. He's a guy who's had 10 sack seasons in his career, but more importantly, he is one of the best outside linebackers at stopping the run and setting the edge. In a game, the weather the way it's going to be, this is a game for Marcus Golden to step up. And I actually really laughed because I got to throw Zoidie on blast here. So Zoidie texts me. He goes, the hell's Marcus Golden doing in the game? Oh, he said his number because he doesn't know who Golden is. He goes, I want to see Herbig in there. The play right before Marcus Golden got his sack, he was complaining about Herbig not being in there because Golden doesn't generate pass rush, and I just laughed hysterically because Golden got his sack the next play. Just had to flame Zoidie there because it made me laugh.
Zoidie got him in his zone there. That's that positive energy.
So Zoidie, we need you to text that every play.
Yes.
Just rip on people.
More
they're
of
gonna
that,
play
Zoidie.
up to par. So let's talk about the Baltimore game. Obviously, we got what we needed with the Jacksonville loss. Which is good because I think Denver lost their game. But Buffalo wins. We don't get to play a depleted team. We get to play a pretty hot Buffalo team right now that's been running the ball well. Josh Allen's been making some better decisions, and defensively been playing pretty good. But the Baltimore game has to go the Steelers' way. Of course, the huge touchdown to Deontay Johnson. Najee Harris showing that he's a force in the elements, able to hold on to the ball. Maybe a cause for concern, though. The Steelers did have a couple fumbles, a Mason Rudolph one and a Jaylen Warren one, and let's be honest, if Jaylen Warren is one of those guys and he's a smaller guy, if he struggles in the elements, this is going to be an element game. That's going to take away a huge part of what the Steelers do best, Jimmy.
It would. We'll have to. Weather looking to be an issue in Buffalo?
Like 6 inches of snow.
Oh, boy.
During the game.
While it might detract perhaps from Jaylen Warren, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen the tread on his snow tires or not. He might be a little LaShawn McCoy type of guy. Boom, boom, boom. But
his rain tires don't work very well. Well, his rain tires work well, I guess. It's more like his windshield fell off or something. I don't know.
I don't know if we really can consider that rain. It might be sleet. It might be snow. You know, there's a lot of things going on in that game.
Whatever the hell happened in Baltimore that made the football wet made Jaylen Warren not able to hold on to it.
Right, but what I will say, Donkey, is does that ramp up Najee Harris' power running up the middle? Let's go.
It did in Baltimore, and that's a huge thing, but let's be honest here. Baltimore wasn't playing their premier guys. Like, they really only played Clowney until he got his bonus money, which, by the way, shout out Jadeveon Clowney. I love seeing people in the last week of the season earn themselves more money. So kudos for you for sacking Mason Rudolph and earning yourself, what was it, $750,000? Bro, that's a nice payday. Congrats. Way to start off your year. But the Baltimore game, let's be honest here. I wanted to see a little more out of the secondary. Baltimore's biggest play for us was dropping the pass again. We got scorched a couple times on the back end, which hopefully won't happen with both DeMonte Casey and Minka Fitzpatrick back for this game. Man, I want to say a lot more good things about this team, but it wasn't the dominating effort, but it was the effort that was needed, I guess is what I'll say. It put us in the zone that let us have the chance. And Mason Rudolph gets to set a Steelers record of the highest completion percentage for probably minimum of 20 passes in the game at 90%. Playing in weather conditions like that, having the big strike to Deontay Johnson and Mason Rudolph completing a lot of passes, Gingy, bodes well for the Steelers going into another weather game, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say so. Real careful with the ball. That was nice. Didn't give up the big one, Donkey.
The one thing, let me chime in real quick. The one thing I can say, though, is this is my area, because I live an hour and a half from Buffalo. The high winds is going to be questionable if he can do the same.
Boy, that's a good point.
The dude played his college ball in Oklahoma State. I'm sure he knows how to throw the ball in a windstorm playing in the Tornado Central. So I'm not too worried about Mason handling the situation. What I'm more concerned about is Buffalo's going to have their starters on defense actually playing, and that's the bigger concern for me. But to finish off the Baltimore game, how the hell does Presley Harvin still have a job, Laskers? That's how I want to end the Baltimore game recap, is just how does Presley Harvin have a job?
Donkey, I don't know, but you were a big fan of Presley, 2, 3, 4 years ago.
When we drafted him, because he was a fat punter, and that was awesome. Since then,
I'm not really sure how he's had a job for as long as he has. So, I give up on trying to figure it out.
Laskers, the only thing I want to say is coming out of college, this is a dude who averaged like 48 yards a punt. If I'm not mistaken, the field, outside of the hash marks being moved out in college, the field is the same exact length and played the same exact style of football. What in the hell made this dude go from being like collegiate record setting to borderline worst punter in football? Like, what happened there? Is it the Steelers? Did the Steelers
pressure.
happen? Was it bubblegum Danny Smith that happened? Because I heard a lot. Okay, I hear the pressure, but I heard a lot the Steelers are asking Presley Harvin to do stuff he's not comfortable with. Which, if that's the case, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Because, as I've always said with pitchers too in baseball, you don't take someone and then tell them, "Hey, stop doing things the way that made you successful." Like, if that's the case, that's ridiculous, and it is what it is.
Donkey, really, I got a counterpoint for you. Pittsburgh Pirates.
What about
them? When's the last time they had a good pitcher that actually looked good? Because they fuck them up.
Well, you can say what you want, but AJ Burnett, they tweaked, not his mechanics, but tweaked the way he used his pitches, and it really revitalized his career. Same can be said with Francisco Liriano. They do a good job of taking old guys and rehashing guys who weren't successful. But this is what I'm saying. Guys who weren't successful at the time. That's a little different, and that's what the Pirates do. I mean, young guys that they developed Garrett Cole, and he's arguably the best pitcher in baseball. They also had Tyler Glass now, and he's a superstar. I mean, you just have to leave Pittsburgh in baseball in order to get somewhere. But let's get closing thoughts on the Baltimore game from Gingy and then to Laskers, and then we'll move on to Buffalo.
My question, Donkey, is why are we messing with a punter's mechanics, especially one that we drafted to be the guy?
I'm not even sure it's mechanics as much as asking him to punt in a style he doesn't like to. Like, say he's a straight line boomer and you're asking him to directionally kick and he struggles with it, and then you continue to keep asking him to do it rather than just saying, "Hey, go do what you're used to."
Kick it. Kick it straight.
The thing is, they might have started to ask him to do something he wasn't used to. He tried to get good at that, and by doing that, he forgot how to do what he was good at. I really don't know because I'm not in the room, but my understanding from what people have said and what Mike Tomlin's even said before in press conferences is we asked him to do things a little differently, and we asked him to do things he wasn't comfortable with, and he still struggles with those, is what he said. And if that's the case, and you can't get him to be right, you need to move on, dude. Okay, cool. I'll talk to myself for a minute here, but
I don't have nothing else to say about Presley Harvin. Yeah.
All right. Closing thoughts on Baltimore, and then Gingy closing thoughts on Baltimore.
Hey, we won. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
and it was a shitty weather.
Fair enough. Gingy.
Grindy win, gritty win. What I do like, Donkey, 5-1 in the division. Sweeping Baltimore.
Best division in football history, Gingy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First time since 1934, since the merger at least, that every team in the division finished with a winning record.
Yeah, I think last team in our division, the Cincinnati Bengals, would have perhaps won the NFC South.
I don't know how the tiebreakers would have worked there, so potentially.
I mean, I think the Bucs were 9-8 as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay and New Orleans tied at 9-8. That is absolutely correct. They had 2 9-8 teams and an 8-9 team in Atlanta, and then the Carolina Panthers, which whatever's to be said
showed
there.
up.
But actually,
somehow.
You know what? Let's do something fun before we get into breaking down the Buffalo game. There are a bunch of job openings, no longer New England. They have a coach. If you were an NFL coach, which job opening would you take and why? Gingy, you got one in mind?
NFL coach. I know a couple of them. Do I know all of them that are open? That's the question.
Oh,
So
we
we've
know
got,
technically
we've got-
the Raiders and Chargers. You go
Yes,
over a little
Staley
farther. Where else do we have? I don't know. Do we have
Seahawks.
another AFC? Yeah, I think you have to go over there. Then you have
Seahawks, yep.
Seattle's jobs clearly open.
Tennessee.
Yep, there's the other AFC one. Tennessee, they fired Vrabel. You have
Okay.
Atlanta. You have Carolina. You have the Chargers. That's the one I was trying to think of. You have the Chargers job open. You have Washington
interesting.
Commanders with an open job.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm staying away from, donkeys. I'm not touching the Chargers or the Raiders job with a 10-foot pole. All right. What might seem freaking terrible in the Carolina job would be interesting, as they've got Bryce Young down there, right, to develop. Overall, the Atlanta or the Tennessee job might be the most attractive. I'm not sure. Laskers, what do you think?
I'm thinking Tennessee is the most attractive job to take.
Yeah. The quarterback situation there, rough, and your best player is the better side of 30 as a running back. Ugh. No, thank you. I think Gingy avoided the best open coaching job, and that is the Chargers, because Justin Herbert is that guy with the ceiling that's unlimited. And this is a guy who hasn't been surrounded by really good weapons and has never had a good offensive line. You go in there, you build that offensive line, you add a couple weapons in the draft. I think that Chargers job could be the best job to have, because not only that, they have all pros in Bosa on the defensive line, and, well, I can't think of his name, the guy who plays safety, Derwin James. That Chargers job just has so much talent that it's hard to say no to, and that's in a division where Kansas City's on a downslide right now. I don't believe in Denver, and I don't believe in Vegas. I really like that potential. And the other job I like, but it requires you to get a quarterback, you mentioned it, Gingy, is Atlanta. Now, their defense is in shambles, but that offense has some weapons, and Bijan Robinson, and Pitts, and Drake London. They have some good weapons there, but again, that's another team you'd have to build the offensive line. But Gingy, I'm curious, why stay away from the Chargers job?
I don't know. I'm just not necessarily feeling their commitment to football, really. Right? It's like you're always playing on the road. Poor Chargers guys. Yeah, they got some personnel, but I don't know, donkey. They just always seem to come up short.
The only reason I would say avoid the Chargers job is the damn amount of taxes you'd have to pay on every dollar that you make. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get into the Buffalo breakdown. The Steelers versus the Bills, all-time, 29 meetings with the Steelers having a 17-12 edge. On the road at Buffalo, we're 7-9, but all three playoff games were played in Pittsburgh, which the Steelers are 2-1 in playoff games. So who knows what to make of that? The biggest win in the series was the last time we played. The Bills beat us by 35 at 38-3. The Steelers' biggest win was 28-0 in 79. The longest streak, Pittsburgh had a 6-game winner from 01-16. Buffalo had a 5-game from 86-93. The current streak is Buffalo at 1 because they beat us last October, the 38-3 we just talked about. But the fun part about the playoffs, we just talked about it. The Steelers and Buffalo Bills in the playoffs have met 3 times, and all 3 times the winner went on to the Super Bowl. The 2 meetings in the 90s, we both got kind of trounced by the Dallas Cowboys, but the Steelers win the Super Bowl, I believe, way back in the 70s after we beat the Buffalo Bills. Now, some fun stuff about the playoff game. The last one in 1996. I'm going to go through some names here, and you guys tell me if you even knew that they played for the Steelers. By that, I mean only one of them. But let's talk about this guy. John Williams had the opening touchdown in the first quarter. Not on opening drive, but opening touchdown. Either of you even know who the heck John Williams was?
Is he the guy that made all the music for Star Wars?
I don't think so. He's a running back who spent the majority of his career in Seattle, really didn't do much in Pittsburgh. I don't think he even had a touchdown outside of that playoff game touchdown. Not really much playing. There was an offensive rookie of the or all offensive all teamer, or it might have been even the offensive rookie of the year way back playing with Seattle. But some other fun names from this game: Bam Morris had 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Really physical running back. Had a little
I do
drug
recall that
problem.
name.
Yeah, Bam Morris. That's one of the early Steeler names I remember. Ernie Mills went ahead and caught himself a touchdown. I believe Yancey Thigpen led the team in receiving yards. Neil O'Donnell threw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. You know, a name every Steeler fan loves, right? Neil O'Donnell.
Mm-hmm.
Questionable.
All right.
My first real introduction to football tragedy was in '95, watching him throw that pick directly to the Dallas Cowboys. That was my first real introduction to heartbreak.
That happened
right on the television.
later from this playoff run. So, okay, just so we're clear, later for this playoff run. Had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions in that game. Our punter only averaged 30 yards a punt, but a man by the name of Cordell Stewart, yes, none other than Slash himself, had a 41-yard punt. So he actually had the best average distance for punts of anyone on the field that day. So, you know, I thought that was pretty cool.
Give him a helmet, Donkey. He can probably kick it farther than Presley Harvin at this point.
Norm Johnson went 4 for 4 on field goals. You know, good solid kicker. The Steelers at one point had a 20-point lead. Let the what the heck Bills get back into it, and then went ahead and added some more points on their way to a nice, comfortable 40-21 victory. That's all the way back in '96, though. My goodness gracious. What do we expect this version? You have an explosive Bills offense led by none other than Josh Allen. You have a Bills defense that gets after the quarterback and can make some plays on the back end. You got a Steelers team without TJ Watt, and we know what happens without TJ Watt. Things, record's really bad. But before I get to letting Laskers and Gingy talk about this, maybe we're not the only team missing an X factor. As if you recall what Gabe Davis did to us last time, the fact that he's not going to play could be huge. And also, a pretty good communicator and leader out there, Taylor Rapp in the secondary, is also not going to play for Buffalo. They also have a couple other questionable guys, one of their starting corners and one of their starting linebackers. What is gonna happen, Gingy? How does this game play out?
Well, Donkey, you're not wrong. The loss of TJ Watt, absolutely foreshadowing, hopefully not, but seriously, Donkey, that is record's not good. Need the pass rush. Gonna have to have another guy step up on defense. Now, Donkey, you did mention the weather earlier. That may or may not also play both ways, right? I mean, Josh Allen is going to throw regardless. That is what he's going to do. At least that's my opinion.
Remember the Dallas game where they blew out the Cowboys? He only threw the ball 15 times for 94 yards. They ran for 257 yards or something against Dallas.
Well, then there's going to have to be some guys that really step up on the defensive line. Donkey to shut that down. We haven't been particularly strong, I don't think, against stopping runs up the middle this year, so that'll be a point of contention, and especially in a weather game, as you mentioned earlier. But again, we could probably combat that with a little bit of our own up the middle running. I'm not entirely certain that Buffalo is on great standing on those terms either. I think that they might be a little exploitable there. So
they have been towards the end of the year, 15th in the league right now in run, allowing 110 yards a game.
So, Donkey, I will take you back to the original Gingy Steeler formula that we always go back to, right? Time of possession, minimize turnovers, splash plays. Okay? Bend but don't break mentality.
Gingy, you and Zoidie are like my two favorite people because you both speak Mike Tomlinisms, but you both have been, well, maybe not you as much, but Zoidie for sure, ultra critical of Mike Tomlin, yet you love the style of play that he loves.
Hey, scared money. Scared
Shut
money.
the hell up with that. Lasker's your take.
I mean, Gabe Davis being out is a huge benefit to us. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a shitty game. Just hopefully we can stop the run. So someone on defense needs to step up and stop the run.
Minka's back. He's been pretty good at stopping the run. Scared money don't make money. Shut up, Gingy. All right. Anyway, let's get into.
I love that.
I've lost
focus.
I've lost focus fully because
I took you off your game.
All right, let's get back into what is going to happen here. I mean, yeah, those things are all good. Those things are all pretty. But, Gingy, there is something, and I hope that he gets to play over the left tackle more often. There was a preseason game, and I think you came on after it with me, and I said, Gingy, the most impressive thing to me was we have this fourth-round undersized rookie who, when he went against the starter, Dawkins, in Buffalo, he made him look silly. And that kid was none other than Nick Herbig, who should have a bigger role this week. The game that made me think Herbig was a legit NFLer was a preseason game against this team. And I think this is a game where Herbig has to be a difference maker. To me, that's what it's going to come down to. Either it's Herbig, I guess you could say any of the pass rushers essentially. Someone needs to have a game. Golden, Herbig, Highsmith, one of them needs to have a game because let's be honest, the Steelers are weak up the middle. The Steelers need a big play probably every drive that sets Buffalo behind the sticks because if we let them stay on schedule, this game could get ugly and could get ugly fast. I mean, it could be as bad as the damn weather for all I know. Side note, last year's Gingy, you guys want to go up and earn $20 an hour, they're paying for volunteer shovelers because the snow is apparently going to be that bad. So, hey, you guys want to go shovel some snow? Just saying, you can make a little money. But also for last year, if you live close enough.
If I didn't know how shitty the drive up would be, I'd be taking up on that option.
Fair enough. All right, you guys ready to go into some cash or trash takes for a playoff game? JJ, the playoffs!
Playoffs, baby, yes.
My gosh.
Who's talking about
I haven't got to
playoffs?
say it enough. I'm talking about playoffs because we're here and we're drinking. Well, I'm not drinking any more beer, but Laskers is drinking beer. So let's start with him. Let's start on offense. Laskers, cash or trash? Mason Rudolph is going to continue his interceptionless streak.
I'm going to cash that one in.
Yeah, that'd be huge. I like the way this is starting. Gingy, let's go over to you. Snowy day, weather, Najee Harris has been running physical. Does Najee like the snow? We'll figure out. So cash or trash? Najee Harris breaking 100 yards in the snow against Buffalo.
Cash it up. Cash up 20. Cash up 27 carries at 5.1. 2 tutties. Let's go.
Laskers, the receivers seem to be 100 yards and a touchdown or literally nothing. Both of them, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. It feels like it's Deontay Johnson's turn last week, which means it should be George Pickens' turn this week, right? So cash or trash, George Pickens with 80-plus receiving yards and a touchdown.
Boy, that's a tough one because he didn't even catch a pass last week.
I don't think he even got a pass thrown his direction.
I can tell you, I don't think he did either because Allen Robinson was 0 for 0, so I don't think he did. I'm going to cash that one in, I guess.
Fair enough.
Ooh.
Gingy, the Bills are third in the league in sacks. The Steelers' offensive line has had some problems. Specifically, I'm looking at you, Mason Cole and Dan Moore Jr.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, now I'm done with that.
Basically, anybody but Steelers.
Hey, Broderick Jones has been pretty good too. All right.
Okay.
But yes, outside of those two, yep, enough said. The Steelers will hold the Buffalo Bills to under 2 sacks. Cash or trash?
Might have to trash that donkey.
Yeah, dude. I don't blame you at all. Laskers, let's end the offensive take with this. It's snowy. Weather sucks. 350 yards seems to be a premium that if you touch in these bad weather games, you win. The Steelers will surpass 350 yards of total offense, cash or trash.
I'm going to cash that in because of my prediction.
Awesome. Let's go to defense. Let's go to Gingy. I got Tree Fitty. Let's go ahead, and I am not a Loch Ness monster, just so everybody's clear. Let's go ahead and talk about defense. Let's talk about sacks. Let's talk about no T.J. Watt specifically. Gingy, with no T.J. Watt, the Steelers' pass rush will still show up to the tune of 3 or more sacks against the Buffalo Bills.
Cash that in.
I like it. Laskers, bad weather, running the ball. Last time they played in games like this, James Cook almost went off for 200 yards. Cash or trash, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense will hold the Buffalo Bills to under 125 yards rushing.
I'm trashing that one.
All right. Gingy, Minkah Fitzpatrick is back. Minkah Fitzpatrick had 0 turnovers in the regular season, but he's going to go ahead and add 1 in the postseason. Cash or trash?
Oh, that's a bold prediction, right? Because, I mean, coming back in, you know what, though? Minus T.J. Watt on defense, he's the veteran leadership. He's the playoff experience. He's the guy. Cash him in on 1 INT, donkey.
I like it. Laskers, Presley Harvin is so offensive that I had to put him on the defensive side for my predictions. Presley Harvin will average more yards, more net yards, and have a better inside the 20 percentage than the Buffalo Bills punter. Cash or trash?
Well, give me a minute. I got to look at their punter.
He's a bit shade.
Their old punter was a guy who the Steelers might consider signing because he just got told he no longer did sexually assault that lady, so he's free to sign.
I'm going to cash that one in, I guess.
Ooh, last year's taking Presley Harvin as a winner. I thought that was an easy one because I can't trust Presley Harvin in anything. Gingy, the injuries...
It's going to be shitty. He seems to be good and shitty.
The injuries have led to seeing a lot more Levi Wallace on the field, and he's still getting beat quite consistently. But 2 safeties back means Pat Pete can move back to the outside. But we're going to go ahead and put Pat Pete and Levi Wallace together because they've both been kind of trash as corners. So let's put them together in one sentence here. Pat Pete, Levi Wallace will hold whatever Bill lines up against them to under 100 yards receiving and will not give up a touchdown this week. Cash or trash?
No, trash on those 2. I'm sorry, Pat Pete, you a legend, man, but those numbers, they don't lie. You talk about Joey Porter Jr. that way, though, and I'd be giving you some cash, but those 2 fellas,
Here, we'll bonus it for Gingy. Joey Porter Jr. will not have a pass interference penalty this week, Cash.
Whoa, hold up now. Hold up. All right, I'm not certain on that either. All right, that's part of playing defense now in 2024, okay?
Well, when you're literally grabbing the guy every other time, truthfully it is, yes. So there's our cash or tracks. There's a good breakdown of what's going on, who's missing, what is the big scary part. But I want Laskers to break down how he sees this game going and the feel he has, and then go to Gingy to get the same idea. See if we're similar on our page here of the way we feel things will be going. Laskers, take it away.
Oh, I feel this is going to be a run-heavy game for both teams, but I also think Josh Allen's going to make some mistakes, and because we all know that he cannot not throw the ball. He just can't do it. So there's going to be some mistakes of him trying to force a ball in the heavy snow, and it's not going to go well.
That's fair. Gingy.
I'll tell you what, I like that prediction. Again, I'm lining up on what I said earlier with consistent running game, time of possession, relatively low scoring game, back and forth, but then that one critical mistake, that one deflected ball, that one sack fumble. that comes along, Donkey, and that's going to be the deciding factor.
I'll be honest, y'all are a lot more happy than I am. Of course, I'm going to be rooting for my team, cheering as hard and hoping for the best. But man, a defense without TJ Watt, we know what the Steelers' record is on that. Buffalo being a team that's put up 200-plus rushing yards on a defense very similar to ours in Dallas just a few weeks ago. And the Steelers' offense not having a performance against Baltimore's backups that you'd like to see in a must-have game. Really, the only two offensive explosions we had were against the bottom 10 defense. That's not what we're facing this week. I'm more nervous than optimistic about this game. Plus, if y'all remember, we did a show a few years ago where I was like, you know what, everyone else is negative, so I'm going to be optimistic and say, yeah, we're going to take it to the Browns. And I learned my damn lesson, all right?
Ooh.
I learned my damn lesson. So let's get into picking the playoff games. Let's start with Cleveland and Houston. You know, the one game that might be played in nice weather. Now there's a couple. But who'd you guys like in the Browns going to the Texans?
Gingy, you can go first.
Boy. Who do I like in the Browns and the Texans? I don't. Donkey. Give me the Texans. Give me the Texans at home. I don't think the Browns got the stuff.
Give me the Browns.
Give me the Texans in The Terrible Towel is going to curse you, part 2. It's time for the Browns to get their comeuppance. Let's go to Kansas City playing Miami in 0 degrees. Boy, oh boy. Those two high-flying offenses might just get frozen at the gate. You know what? I like the Chiefs. Gingy, who'd you like?
Oh boy, give me in that type of weather, Donkey, when you've got your senses seized up like that, give me experience over power any day. If we were talking in Miami, maybe differently, give me the Chiefs.
Oh, I'm going to make this a clean sweep. Give me the Chiefs on that one.
Maybe if we were talking Miami still had Xavier Howard, Jalen Phillips, and Bradley Chubb. But they're without their three best
Bradley Chubb
players.
is a huge loss.
Jalen Phillips is a huge loss. That dude was playing like a monster all year. All of them were... Dude, you're talking 3 potential Pro Bowlers missing the game. Yeah, that's huge. Let's go Dallas, Green Bay, Laskers. What are you feeling here against 2 storied franchises in the NFC? Getting a little slobber knocker going on, maybe. More likely a shootout, but, you never know.
This one's going to hurt me. It's not really going to hurt me, but it just goes against everything you know. Give me the Packers.
Nice. Jordan Love for the win. Gingy, who'd you like?
It's really funny because I got the exact opposite team for the exact same reason. Against my better instinct. Every time I put my faith in the Dallas Cowboys, they lead me astray. They lose to 6 seeds. They botch the season. Dak Prescott, Dax everywhere. Against my better judgment, I'll take the Cowboys in round 1.
I also like the Cowboys, and it's purely because they're playing at home, and this year that team at home is woo compared to
That's why it's hard for me to pick against them.
Next up, we got the Rams coming to Detroit in the quarterback trade frenzy. This is the time for Jared Goff to get his vengeance on the Rams, and maybe it's Jared Goff's turn to pull the Matthew Stafford and bring home a trophy. But either way, I like Detroit. Laskers, who you liking?
I'm liking Detroit. I mean, I hope the Rams win, but I'm going with Detroit.
Gingy!
Yeah, give me Detroit, but wouldn't that be just the massive heartbreak in Detroit if they get their first home playoff game and Matthew Stafford comes back and just oh my God, I couldn't even imagine being a Detroit fan if that's the way that goes down, but I don't think it does.
I will say, Gingy, before the show, me and Laskers talked, and I said the Rams are the one team I don't want to play in the playoffs because Kerryon Williams has been the best running back in the league in terms of yards per game rushing. You have Puka Nacua breaking out. I mean, Aaron Donald on the defense, that team can be scary. Now let's go. An ice-cold Philadelphia Eagles has to travel down to Tampa Bay to try and thaw out, but this is when the curse of Baker Mayfield rears its nasty head. Of course, the Buccaneers win. Gingy, who'd you like?
Oh, my. Give me the Eagles.
Laskers.
I'm going to go, give me the Buccaneers.
I like it. Jump on that bandwagon. Let's go. Anyway, we still have one game we haven't talked about. It's a game that's going to be played in the snow. It's your 1 Eastern Sunday game. That's the Steelers going to the Bills. Laskers, who'd you like? Why'd you like them, specifically the player who's your X Factor?
Give me the Bills 23-13. It's their home field. That's why I like them. And I just think that they can figure out how to win at home. And my X Factor is Jared Cook. Or James Cook, sorry.
James Cook. Yeah, you stole my X Factor. Now I think of new one. Thanks, Laskers. Gingy, who'd you like and why?
Slobber knocker of a game. All the things I said before. Consistent running. Splash plays. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-17 with the X Factor being the difference in the 3 points. I think that Mr. Veteran, the last of the Killer Bees, Chris Boswell, comes out in the snow and bangs one home deep to finish it off.
How deep?
Fair.
In that weather, I'm saying anything over 45 is deep. With that
31?
weather and wind, yeah,
31?
I was going to say 45 would be ultra deep. I'd say 40. They're going to have to clear them off a little spot in the snow. That's my call.
All right, let's talk about it. The Steelers, luckily they just played in a weather game, but I just don't think the firepower is there for the Steelers to keep up with the fact that their defense has been sus all year and now is without NFL sack leader, potentially and probably should be, whether he is or isn't, NFL Defensive Player of the Year. It's too much to overcome. 27-16 is the way I see this game going to Buffalo, and I'm with Laskers. I do not think the Steelers can stop James Cook. I think we talk about Josh Allen's going to throw the ball, but I think Buffalo, specifically Cook, is going to force Josh Allen not to throw the ball, and I just don't see the Steelers having the ability to commit in the plays they need to. I think the Rudolph magic comes to an end, and unfortunately, so does the Steelers season.
Hey, Donkey, before you switch, can I chime in and say who Yahoo is predicting defensive player will be?
If they say Myles Garrett, they should shut up and get kicked in the toes.
That's exactly who they say. They're saying if any of you read who was gonna, based on, it was basically the rankings of who's gonna win the playoffs. They're saying Myles Garrett is the best defensive player, period, this year.
All right, I'm gonna say two things here.
And I totally disagree with that, but
stop making up damn stats. Oh, he has the best pass rush win rate. Gingy, we're going to go here. Me and you are going to have a conversation. A pass rush win rate, to me, should result in 3 things. Do you know what those 3 things are?
A sack, a QB hit.
Check.
Or
what's 3 for 3?
What's the magical number? A tackle for loss? Something? I don't know.
Nope, tackle for loss be a running play. Good guess. A holding penalty drawn. That's the 3rd win for me. If you don't do those 3 things, then you're not up there. Okay,
the
now
QB rush could be the other one.
So,
no, because the QB pressure is subjective to how a person loves to judge it, and subjective shit should stay out of statistics. Subjective shit ruins statistics, and that's why PFF loves Myles Garrett, is because they put in these subjective bullshit things instead of things that are objectively clear. Laskers, who has more sacks this year, Myles Garrett or TJ Watt?
That'd be TJ.
Who has more holding penalties called this year, Myles Garrett or TJ Watt?
Pretty sure that's TJ.
Myles Garrett by 1. Who has more quarterback hits this year, Myles Garrett or TJ Watt?
Gonna bet that one's TJ.
And when we go into the running game, Laskers, who has more tackles this year, Myles Garrett or TJ Watt?
I would say that TJ, and that doesn't even need to be.
He does.
It doesn't even need to be.
Tackles
hang on. Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't even need to be running plays because I think he probably has more tackles that weren't running plays.
Well, who has more tackles for loss? Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt?
TJ.
Who has more forced fumbles? Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt?
That one I know for sure is TJ.
Who has more fumble recoveries? Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt?
I also know that one's TJ.
Who has more interceptions? Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt?
Also know that's TJ. That
Who
was an
has
impressive
more
interception.
touchdowns? Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt?
Also know that's TJ. And again,
So
that was
Gingy.
impressive.
So, Gingy, when me and Laskers break down every objective defensive stat known to man, how the hell is Myles Garrett better than T.J. Watt? Because objectively, he loses everywhere.
But Myles Garrett
one.
gets doubled on every play. He gets doubled.
T.J. Watt gets the
TJ?
whole damn defense on him because Alex Highsmith has been sucking his damn thumb over there on the right side all year. I don't get it. I get Myles Garrett is a great player. Don't take anything away from that. But we have gone into loving PFF so much that people are taking this BS pass rush win rate stat they give, which is a subjective thing. The person watching the game decides whether or not that's a quarterback pressure. That's not an actual NFL stat because there's no way to objectively measure it. When you look at all the objective stats, there are no way you don't think TJ Watt is the best pass rusher in the league. Now, here's my argument. I don't think TJ Watt is Defensive Player of the Year because I don't think he was the most influential defensive player. However, Defensive Player of the Year has become Pass Rusher of the Year. So just like MVP, if you bet against a pass rusher, it's like betting against a quarterback. It's just dumb money. Because I'm going to be honest with you, the guy who's my Defensive Player of the Year doesn't even make a Pro Bowl team, and that's Antoine Winfield Jr. Look at the stats he's done down there in Tampa. He has been that whole defense by himself. I don't think there's a more influential player than him this year. And I love TJ, and I think TJ should win the award this year because it's Pass Rusher of the Year. But I also have to give a shout-out to Antoine Winfield Jr. at the year he's had. My goodness gracious, we were at shout-outs, right? Does anyone have anything else to say before I get there?
I don't think so.
I think that covers it. That's a pretty thorough slicing up of Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, Laskers, let's go to you. Let's go to shout-outs.
I'm giving Mason Rudolph a shout-out.
Shootout. That's what he wants to be in, baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him in a shootout this week. But hey, you were the third string quarterback. You showed up and proved that you are a first string quarterback. That's why I'm giving you a shout out.
Definitely proved you're better than Mitch Trubisky. Gingy.
Yeah, dang it, Laskers, you stole mine. But I will. I think I'll have to shout out. It's a very first for me, right? But I enjoy
Presley
it.
Harvin.
I'll enjoy it not because I enjoy who Baker Mayfield is or the fact that he played for the Cleveland Browns, but to the fact that the Browns once again let a guy go and he goes and has success elsewhere while they dump how many number one picks into Deshaun Watson?
A jillion.
Too many.
Looks better.
They've basically single-handedly built a dynasty in Houston for the next 6 to 8 years. So thanks for that. But shout out Baker Mayfield for reviving his career down in Florida. Good on him.
Heck yeah. If you saw the way he gutted out that game, by the way, in Carolina, kudos, because my God, you could tell that dude was hurt every time he took a step. My shout out is going to be a three-parter. First off, Najee Harris, 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons rushing. Congratulations. I think you're the first Steeler to do that. That is quite an impressive feat. Second off, Mason Rudolph, Steeler record 90% completion in a game. Good job there. Kudos once again. And, of course, TJ Watt, NFL sack leader for the third time. My God, is that a rare feat. There are only 2 other people in NFL history who have done that since it became a stat. That is an impressive thing. Accumulation of a great year from TJ. a solid season from Najee, especially the second half when he started running physical, and great backup quarterback play out of Mason Rudolph. Those are my shout-outs. So now it's time, I gotta let you know, I'm the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger is the YouTube channel where you get all this fun stuff. Maybe, just maybe, because someone's told me I should do this, I need to find someone to take my rants and put them on by themselves, because apparently it's entertaining to hear me go crazy and cuckoo for a little bit. Laskers, what's up?
Well, I'm going to give... This is going to be before my thing. I'm giving a shout out to Abby because I know she's the one who said that. And then I'm the Laskers everywhere. If you can't find me, well, that's too bad. Gingy, to you.
Laskers, you'd be wrong, but yes!
Mutant Gingy in the house, folks. We hanging out. We watching football. Holy smokes. We have got another week of extra playoff football, wild card round, and you know what? I bet you it's going to get pretty wild up in Buffalo too. Steelers fans, get them ready. Stay warm. Wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers.